Okay, it's 4:03, so I guess it's time to start. So first of all, very good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to this PhD information session. My name is Raul Vicente, and I'm the program manager of the PhD studies here in our Institute of Computer Science. And maybe I will start by some technical news, which is that I think today's session is being recorded with the microphone from the ceiling. So it means that it hears almost the whole room, so be careful if you make some comments back there. It might make it into the recordings, okay? So
that's your opportunity.
Or maybe comment something that you wish to be recorded. But just be careful or be aware of it, at least, okay? So let me start by telling you a little bit what is the idea of today's session and for who it is. So the idea is very simple. If any one of you, especially the students from bachelor and master, who have wondered what the PhD studies are about, or if you wonder if the PhD studies is something for you, or if you wonder what you will win or lose by going to a PhD as opposed to going to industry, this session, what we want is to give you the information and to share the experience by people who have done it before you, so you can ask and you can solve your questions about these relevant interrogations or questions about whether this is for you. And for that, we have a session with, I think, supervisors, with students, with people who are here willing to share their experience about being a PhD student, about being a supervisor, so that you can, again, solve your questions and curiosities before you take this important decision in your life. And as I said, for that we have a very nice agenda, I think. And we will start by giving voice to the head of the institute, Heisi Kurig, to welcome you and to say a few words about today's event. After that, I myself will give a presentation about the PhD curriculum in our institute, together with some personal view of what I personally think the PhD can give you. And after that, we will have Dr. Kalev Koppel, who recently graduated from the Institute of Geography, and I think he will share a nice experience and personal view also of PhD studies from maybe a more informal point of view than the rest of the session, and that's very nice and very welcome. Thank you very much. And then we'll have a coffee break. So the idea is that we socialize, that you talk maybe to potential supervisors, that you also informally discuss or solve your curiosities about PhD studies and curriculum. And after that coffee break, then we will have perhaps what is the most important part of today's session, which is the experience from students who were not so far away, sitting in the same positions as you are here today, to tell you their experience about the PhD studies, and also about the PhD student life, which is also a very important component to take the decision. Together also we will have 3 supervisors who also can tell you what the PhD studies look from their side, what they expect from students, how they self took the decision of becoming PhD student, and how they deal with students. So you will have the experience for people who conduct these things on daily life. And after that, there will be time also for some panel with the supervisors, with the students, to solve any of your curiosity questions about PhD studies. And the idea, again, I would like to ask you to be very participative, because the session is for you, for the people who are sitting now in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th row, who are asking yourself whether you should engage in PhD studies. So this session is for you. It's not for me, it's not for the rest of the professors. So this event will be only successful whenever your questions and your curiosities are satisfied. So don't shy away. I'm sure all the people who will talk here today will be very happy to answer your questions. Okay? And with that, I would like to give voice to the head of institute, Heisi Kurig. Welcome.
Welcome everyone. I'm so glad to see this room almost full. It is really, I believe those who are interested, it's really good that you are on this brink of decision. Many of you may think that why to choose a PhD career right now? I think that in the current era when we see the rise of AI, it's often asked like where the work field for ICT specialists still be something that I should aim for. And the very reasonable way to think about this is that indeed it is, but it has to be more and more skilled. So if you think of the PhD career, then you can be sure that you are on the road to become a true high-level specialist, and you will always have a chance to find interesting projects and future for your career. what is a PhD? It is your first job as academic researcher also. So it's not that much of studying as you have maybe so far seen throughout your bachelor and master's level studies. It also contains, like the regular studies as you have seen so far, but even more, this contains research, development, finding out new things, and also thinking and solve problems. So, I really hope that you find today's talks and different points of view, how people have experienced PhD, supervising, all that context interesting, and really find something that sparks your heart and you see road forward with us. So thank you very much for being here today.
So now it's my turn to tell you a little bit about the PhD curriculum here in our institute, to end with some personal view of what I really think the PhD is about. So for that, I will need to have some slides.
Next.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, so I titled the presentation into the PhD program because, as I said, the idea is to tell you what you will get into if you register with us into PhD studies. So yeah, the first thing you need to know is that the nominal time of a PhD is 4 years, in principle. That means that if you register next year, you will be able to maybe share this cake with us by June 23rd. It looks like a long time, right? So this decision is very important. It's a big investment. As I said, many of you probably have questions, doubts that we try to solve here today, or at least give you the elements of information so you can take this decision on your own with relevant information. Another element, perhaps, that you need to discuss, or you have new questions, is because what is the role of AI? Also, recently, last week, they published this essay in Nature about PhD training leading a reboot in the AI world. And this is because, as it has been discussed, PhD studies are focused more on research rather than just getting knowledge from textbook, as it might have been more the case during the bachelor and master. And as we know, AI tools are changing how research is done. Now you can do very easily a literature review. You can very easy, help you to write, help you to formulate hypotheses, help you to do some data analysis. So how these AI tools is affecting research, that it is also affecting PhD studies. And you might wonder also what is now to do a PhD. Is any different? What has changed, or is all the same? So again, I guess new questions will be coming to you also about what is PhD studies and also how AI is affecting it. For that, again, I would like to tell you a little bit about the PhD curriculum, how it's currently organized, how many studies, how many credits you will need to take, how will you be attested, together with a personal view, plus a reminder of important dates. If you are willing to do the PhD with us, I will remind you a little bit of some important dates that you don't need to forget in order to apply with us. But yeah, the first thing you need to know, perhaps, is that the PhD curriculum that you will be engaging is relatively new. It was implemented, the new system, 2-3 years ago. And I will remark a little bit the changes so that you notice on what is the highlight or the focus of the PhD studies. Well, this is the list of the learning outcomes in our PhD curriculum. And the first thing you will notice in the list of learning outcomes that we want that every PhD student that passed through the system will achieve by the end of the studies is that, of course, the classical one, the one that everybody has in mind when conducting PhD studies, is to become an expert in some field of research in terms of knowledge and in terms of skills. That's what everyone has in mind. PhD means to become an expert in some narrow field. But I want you to pay attention to the fact that there are 9 more points in the list, okay? Which means that there are other learning outcomes that we pay attention that you achieve by the end of the studies. One that you can notice is also related to interdisciplinarity. So there is also the objective that you will understand at least the basics of other fields and other methods, and we welcome very much collaboration across institutes, across groups, so that you can engage in interdisciplinary research. Of course, other points are related to be critical, to be clear and logical in both written and oral communication. This is also something you can practice during the PhD study. That's very important, and we will pay attention that you develop in these things also. Together with ethical commitment, in addition to be, of course, independent, to manage process and people. And the last point, as you can see, is also transfer of knowledge through teaching, supervision, or popularization of your field of research. So the first thing I want you to pay attention is that it's not only about knowing many things, many techniques about a narrow field of science, it's also about all these lists. So I think you will grow, not only here, by the way, anywhere you will do a PhD studies, you can grow in many dimensions of life if you achieve at least a subset of these learning outcomes. So it's a way to expand, it's a way to grow with the PhD. As it was mentioned before by Heisi, perhaps the main difference between PhD studies and master's or bachelor is the fact that now in PhD studies you have to be performing your own research to solve novel questions. And this is different from the typical textbook or consolidated knowledge that you were transferred during your master's and your bachelor. Perhaps the experience that is more similar is the one where you conduct your master research thesis. Because the big focus of the bulk of the PhD studies is in research rather than in courses. You can see the courses now is only 30 credits, it's an important module, but has been reduced from 60 previously to only 30. So it's not too many courses that you have to take. The focus again is into research. But let me talk a bit about these two modules, how they are organized in our institute, in our university. So as I said, the study module, you need to complete 30 credits across the 4 years of a study. So not 30 credits every year, just 30 credits in total. That's a very small load of courses that you have to take. And there is one course that is mandatory, which is Introduction to Doctoral Studies at the Faculty of Science and Technology. So 3 credits will go from there. We'll tell you a little bit about the PhD structure and techniques that are valid for any PhD thesis that you might engage in. Now, the other credits, where they come from? Well, these 30 are made up by 18 credits on specialty subjects, in which the idea is that by taking courses from this module, you strengthen some specialty or some specific knowledge in some field of computer science. Typically, these 18 credits can be taken from PhD seminars, which the idea is that you discuss typically some state of the art in your related field in computer science, and you discuss a recent paper where you have to present it or criticize others. These are the typical structure, prepare a scientific presentation of those papers or the state of the art of your field. And this is the typical structure of PhD seminars. And we have a bunch of them, so you can choose the ones more related to your specialty. And other credits can come from what they call specialty elective courses, in which here you just take the typical course, in which you can become a more specialist or getting skills in particular fields. Could be computing, could be neural networks, could be transformers, so specific techniques, a specific field. This has to make up 18 credits, and the other 12 come from the module so-called transferable skills. And here is related to what you before used to be called more soft skills, some skills that are transferable that you can use across many different domains, not particular to your narrow specialization. And this can include these 3 credits that I mentioned from Introduction to Doctoral Studies, plus up to 6 credits from teaching can also be claimed in this module. So if you engage in teaching, you will already complete 6 credits. That can be also accounted for in this module. So it means that you're already 3 plus 6, you have 9, so you have just to choose a small course again to complete this module. So that about the course model. As I said, it's a lot of freedom as long as you complete these 30 credits, and it's a small part of the PhD. The big part, the bulk of it, comes from this research, development, and creative work model. And here, of course, the accomplishment that you should obtain by the end of the studies is, of course, writing a doctoral thesis. That's the thing that everybody sees. But there are also some other milestones that we will ask you to do, because we think that these milestones are important for your development as a researcher. And among these milestones, you will have to give a presentation at some high-level international conference, to be actively participating in the doctoral seminars of your group or your chair, and pass on knowledge, again, through teaching, supervision, or popularizing your field of investigation. So as you can see, again, yes, the focus is in research, but we will ask you to engage in other activities that we think, and it is well known, that will help you to grow as a researcher. Not only writing a thesis at the end, but also, again, participate actively in giving presentations, and in popularizing or teaching or supervising students and other activities. But at the end, for the thesis, what we will ask you is that at least you have to complete or produce 3 research papers during your studies. You can, of course, do more, but the minimum is 3. And again, we will make sure that on the way you also participate in presentations, in seminars, teaching, supervision activities. Of course, all this is to be agreed with the supervisor, the level of each of these activities. But we think that this will make you a round researcher, a much more independent and complete researcher than just if you just focus on getting skills in a very narrow field. And finally, of course, you have to, with these papers, of course, you have to form fully write the doctoral dissertation. And with that, you will be ready to defend. So, some question that pops out among many of you, I would like to anticipate it here, is that many people think, okay, I have to write these papers alone, or just my supervisor will give me questions and I will have to basically do it alone. And the answer is that, okay, for each of these 3 papers, minimum of 3 papers that you will have to produce, you have to be the first or leading author in at least one of them. And of course, it's good, I believe, if you are leading author in more papers than one. But the minimum is to be leading author in one of them. What this leaves the door open is to also collaborations. The idea is that you have a colleague or a person from another group in which you can also collaborate. Maybe you can write a paper together. This welcomes that. This is open to also allow collaborations. But of course, it's not to cheat the system. Still, if you participate collaborating with another person, you will be asked to perform a good, sizable, significant contribution to that paper. Okay? So to count for your PhD, even if you are co-author, still we will ask you to perform a significant work in that paper. But at least what allows is to be open to collaboration. Okay? That doesn't mean that you have to write the 3 papers isolated without collaborating with anyone, so these 3 papers can count only on your thesis. Okay? As I said, for one, you will be asked to be the leading authors. Ideally, it would be good if you are leading author in more papers than one, right? Because you pass through the experience of being the leading person, which means more work, but also more learning. But as I said, we welcome also collaboration, opening the door to write articles jointly with other supervisors, with other students. So yeah, collaboration is also very much welcome during PhD studies, not something you have to do alone. And anyway, the attestation committee is a committee formed by people who will give you feedback and follow your progress across the 4 years of study. So there is a committee that takes care of revising your progress, of reading your documents, so that they can give you feedback and information about your progress and also give suggestions of how to improve. So it's also important to remark that aspect that you will be followed during your studies to help you to sustain the pace and to progress adequately during your PhD studies. This is what is called attestation or progress review committee, and this committee will also oversee that you meet certain milestones at certain times during the PhD studies. Here are just some few milestones. Again, it's for the attestation committee. At the end, if your progress is enough, but I think it's very important that you know that this committee exists and that is here to help you to see that your progress is good. And if not, they will give you recommendations also about how to improve it. What else I wanted to say? Now, I probably will say a few words about my personal view on what PhD studies are really about, which I believe is broader than just, again, getting some techniques in your particular field and apply them to write 3 papers. I think you can grow much more than in only that part. And then again, things are changing, so things are not static, especially with, as I said, also with the role of AI. It's changing, it's a transformative technology about how research is being done, which means it's also changing how PhD studies are being conducted. Because as I said, now a literature review can get done maybe much more quickly than before with the help of AI. Data analysis, coding, formulating hypotheses, many things can be done now in a way quicker than they used to be. At the same time, of course, you need to have expertise in order to even realize whether the output from this AI is plausible, or it applies to your case, or it's just producing something crazy. So it's not that things are going to be replaced by AI completely, of course, but it's a tool. It's a set of tools that is changing how research is done And I believe also there is no better way than in PhD studies to get to know how these techniques work, how these tools work, and to learn how to use them effectively to your benefit in doing research. And again, you can read this article that appeared last week also in Nature to see how things are changing also in PhD studies. But as I said, there is no better way to learn these tools, how they apply to research, than actually using them during research, in particular during your PhD studies. But I wanted to share here a set of slides, a set of points that I share every year because I believe they are important, and I believe these have not changed even for AI. Which is, as I said, yes, the main thing that people have in mind about PhD studies is you have to become a specialist, an expert in some very narrow field, typically. Because if you want to become an expert, you need to be deep, which means typically that you cannot cover too wide territory, right? So this is what people have in mind. Some expert in something that knows very well the literature, knows everything about some subfield of science. But I think if you, after 4 years, only become that, in some sense you have wasted this opportunity that PhD studies give. Because I believe it gives you opportunity to really become an independent thinker. If you use your time also to be critical of ideas, to explore whether papers and literature are really biased or not, to really identify gaps in not knowledge but also reasoning by you and other colleagues. If you focus your critical mind, you can learn a lot using these PhD studies. And you will have a lot of opportunities during PhD studies to be critical and to learn how to be critical. So you can become really an independent thinker. There is a lot of opportunities to become a better writer. Of course, you might argue this have changed now with AI. Do I need it? Yes, still you need it. Because nevertheless, you still have to use AI if you wish, but that is not going to give you a very deep written article about something that you want. You anyway need to write, and there are a lot of opportunities to write during PhD studies. Of course, you have to write at least a minimum of 3 articles during your PhD. You will have to write the dissertation. You will have also to create posters, emails to collaborators, well-formulated, reports for projects. There are a lot of opportunities to improve your writing skills. And if you become a good writer, this is a skill that transfers much more than PhD studies. It's a skill good for so many things. So it's a great opportunity to become a person who can write clearly and logically, and that can have a tremendous effect in your life beyond PhD studies. Speaker, this is something where AI cannot help you too much. At the end, you have to deliver speeches. You have to talk in front of people. Of course, in the beginning, it's typically normal to be nervous in the beginning, but later on, when you give more and more talks, more and more speeches, you feel a bit more comfortable every time. So again, you can really use your PhD studies. You can use your colleagues in the audience. There are many opportunities, again, to give talks in front of people. And this is something that, again, PhD studies has the perfect arena with colleagues, supportive colleagues, nice colleagues who can listen to you. They will give you feedback about what you did correct, what you can improve, what you did not so good. So it's an ideal setting, an ideal arena to improve as an oral communicator. Okay? Also, as a teacher, as we asked you, most of you will have to engage in teaching also if you want to do the PhD studies, which means you have to face an audience of students. You have to transfer knowledge or give some practice. And again, maybe something that scares you in the beginning, but again, if you take the mindset, use it as an opportunity, use it as an arena where people are nice and will give you good feedback, it's a great opportunity to go through these experiences and to learn and to grow also as a teacher. The same thing as a supervisor. At some point, likely you'll be approached by some student asking you to, if you can supervise some project of his or her. And again, it's very different from teaching. This is a much more one-to-one relationship where you have to sustain guidance and supervision with the student for quite some months. And again, PhD is a great opportunity to learn how to become a supervisor. A manager, there are many resources, computational, economical, time that you have to really prioritize and schedule correctly. And probably it's going to change how you do it in the first year as how you do it in the 4th year. So again, it's another opportunity to be to learn how to be an effective manager in many resources. And almost last but not least, the public relations also. I always say that when you go to give a talk somewhere or you visit another group or some visitor comes to your group, you have to be a good public relations. You are representing many times not only yourself, but also your group, your university. And you need to know also how to be diplomatic and still getting your goal with many different type of people. So in projects, collaborators, visitors. So it's a great opportunity again to grow in that aspect. And finally, also as I always say, I really believe that traveling should be mandatory during PhD studies, because the experience that you get when you go abroad, when you visit another group, I think it's very important to learn how things could be done differently and extract what is good and what is bad and bring it here to your group, to your research. So traveling is very, very important in my mind. And here you also have an opportunity to travel while you are a PhD student. Conferences, sometimes to visit another group in other universities. So I guess it's a great opportunity if you like to explore the world. And in addition, we have some events associated to the PhD studies. We have STACC, which is the Estonian Summer School in Computer System Science, which in this August will organize its 23rd edition. Here we invite top scientists to tell you about topics related to computer science in a more general way. And it's a great idea it's a great opportunity again to present your work and listen to the work of all your colleagues, other PhD colleagues, and also to network. And you also have some fun activities organized around. Also, there is a PhD student life in which here in our institute, so PhD students organize PhD events, which are organized again, as I said, by PhD students for PhD students. And here the idea is to discuss in a more informal setting, the life of PhD students, tips and tricks, share, many confidences among the students, and people really like it, and it's widely attended, and people find quite support to know that other students have similar issues than them, or share solutions. Last PhD event was organized last week, I believe, and they share, for example, they invite the speakers to talk about what is any difference to do a PhD and then go to industry, or the other way around. So they invite people who had the PhD, and some stay in academia, some went to organize or start some startups, and ask them then about their experience and to be shared. But they have many other events together with some sauna sessions, so it's a lot of fun events for PhD students, which find a lot of networking in this event. I would like also to share that there is a doctoral school, people who organize and support the training of PhD students across the study. And they provide also mobility funding with 2 rounds per year to give funding to support the students to assist to conferences or workshops or research stays in other laboratories. And also we're organizing now twice per year writing camps. So these are events in which PhD students, in this case, the next one is now in 2 weeks, a bunch of PhD students, 25 or so, will meet in this villa in Viljandi. For 4 days, they're going to be just there, just writing in this nice spa, just to have 4 days to focus their time on writing. And I guess also they will have quite some fun during these 4 days around there. So again, what I wanted to say is that there is support, there's a structure in the university also to help you during training, during your PhD studies. So you're not alone. And now I would like to finish my talk with some important dates to remind you. I mean, some of you might already have a supervisor in mind, so maybe will be found during this discussion that we will have today. But if you consider to apply for a PhD in our university, an important day to remember is 1st of December, because by that time we will ask supervisors for if they have the intention to open a PhD project for next year. Here, still, the things will not be decided, which supervisor will get a PhD position or not. It's simply very informal information about whether a supervisor would like to open a PhD position or not. For that, of course, it's very nice if you have some supervisor in mind, some person with whom you did your master thesis, or some teacher that you really like. Is there a nice opportunity until December or a bit more to ask whether this person, the supervisor, has the idea to open a PhD position or not? So what I'm telling you is that it would be nice if in December, or at least until February, December or January, to contact some teacher that you like and that you consider it could be a nice supervisor or a good supervisor for you. So it's now the time to talk about this thing. If you wait until March or April to discuss this with your teacher that you like or the supervisor that you like, it might give very little time for the supervisor to react, to open a position or to apply for a project with you. Okay? So keep that in mind. And the formal application after the project has been approved happens in the first 2 weeks of May. By then is when you have to formally apply. But as I said, don't wait until then. Talk to the person you like to be your supervisor early, okay? Potentially even today. And with this in mind, I think the last slide I would like to share is some people related to the PhD program. Janika Seli, myself, Lydia Fredrikstol, and Johan Langemets, because these are the people you can contact first. You have some questions about the PhD program. You might contact any of them will route you to the right person to solve your questions. Okay. And with that in mind, yes, I think that was all from my side. And yes, now I would like to give also the stage to Kalev Koppel. Thank you very much for coming here and to tell prospective students also your experience about PhD studies, perhaps a bit more informal setting. So thank you very much to be here today.
Thank you very much, Raul. I would like to borrow some of your slides. Yes, I'm the survivor of PhD studies, and also obviously, apparently, you will become a motivational speaker when you finish your PhD studies. It is a surprise to me that it happens like that. I don't know why exactly Heisi asked me here, because I don't consider myself as a good role model or a good example. I started my PhD studies when I was already 32 years old. 2 years before I became a father, I was working full-time in the IT company, Regio. We were building GIS software. And I was middle manager there, and at the age of burning through. So I never had a serious plan in the beginning to finish my studies, actually. And I used it as a kind of a therapy back then, that I needed some intellectual space to just leave behind corporate chaos and go to the PhD seminar and talk about the eternal topics. And it really worked, actually, really well. But then these random decisions can change your life, actually. And there was a competition on the open position for the research and development company, STACC, for the CEO. And they were searching somebody who had solid business background or industry background, but also the smell of academia. And this, being a doctoral student, was kind of giving me the smell of this academia. So I was chosen there. And back then I had some arrogance, because at one point, being like in the early 30s, I was a CEO of the, in my opinion, big company. This company hired 90 people back then, actually. And my inner insecurity kind of was to overcome this. I was thinking that, all right, you PhDs, you maybe have nothing better to do with your life, and you are escaping from the real world. At the end, it actually, this humility, or it really kind of, I understood that actually they are living their real life. They have chosen to build new knowledge. They are, and not profit. And that was very, very kind of a realization when I finished PhD studies. My story goes on. At STACC, I met also the very good and active team of physicists, they were dealing with young researchers who were dealing with radar remote sensing. And it happened that together we founded another company, remote sensing company, Capacita. It's still operational and interesting company. And environment is very important. If you don't have a very active research team producing publishing articles, then you are in a bad place. But this team, I started to publish with them almost by accident. That they were publishing, when you are running with the wolves, you are holding together kind of thing. And I really felt myself as an incompetent CEO. I was appointed to the CEO in this small company. But I was the only guy who didn't have a PhD degree. So it was a strange situation. All right, now coming back, all my studies actually took 13.5 years. So very bad, I'm a very bad example. But I always felt kind of incompleteness inside, that I had already invested a lot of time. I owe for myself, and also whenever I saw my supervisor, he came to me and please defend before I retire. And I felt always bad. I just changed the side of the street always when this Professor Tõnu came to me and felt bad. But the life is very complicated. I was still working full time all the time. And at one point I decided, I was back in STACC, data science company, the very same I started this journey, that we are also a research organization. How come that you are the CEO of the research organization, you don't have even this degree? And then, and my first article was already 10 years old, something like that. And very bad situation. And you have to make this decision now to really leave it behind or make it. And I decided to make it. Yeah, it's like this going to the gym or jogging. Like, what is the hardest part of doing this? Of course, starting, like standing up from the sofa and start doing it. When you do this, you never regret. Even if you are exhausted after the training, you feel good that you accomplished something. And I think the very same thing is that you are thinking a lot. I was thinking a lot that I should make this decision right now. And many other things happened also in my life and business. And I had this window of opportunity at the really end of my studies. If I don't make it, I will never make it. I was at that point. And really, I think for the mental health, it's also very important that this feeling of incompleteness is a very bad thing. Nobody respects people who kind of leave things undone. So I did make this decision. And also, technically, it's very easy. That you make a plan. There is also, maybe you have heard about Parkinson law. This basically says that that every task takes as much time as allocated to this task, or a little bit more, but it takes all the time. So you have to put yourself a pressure that I was still working as a CEO in a small company, but still full time. But I cleared my calendar last year in October for next 2 months. I cleared 20 days. Within 20, I had my articles. Within 20 days, I have to write together the good cover article for the PhD thesis. And also, when I think back to this time, it was also really important that you are in good shape, your body is in good shape. I was training a lot at the same time. And one more hint that say no to alcohol or other things completely. I'm not talking about partying or abusing alcohol. I'm talking even 1-2 beers or the glass of wine. Because you need to be very fit. And you sacrifice maybe the weekend and then you need to work again and you don't manage this. I was very happy I accomplished this. I was very happy with myself and I submitted the thesis to the supervisor and I also awarded myself. I was going to travel. I went to Cuba and I was sitting in one bar. There was no electricity because they have cut-offs there. And then I got in this dark bar, I got the message that that my thesis is not good enough and not eligible for defense. I was totally disappointed, and that my trip is gone wrong. But I overcome this. Basically, what I want to say to you and make a point is that never give up. I need to kind of fix this. I will go home. I will fix this. The problem was that I had bad examples as templates for the PhD studies, which were consisting like chapter and article. The synthesis was missing, and it's very bad situation because if you have done this already, you have to take it apart, all the pieces apart, and put them together again. It's mentally a very kind of a challenging task actually, but I accomplished within I sacrificed 1 week, and then I got this green light to go to the defense. Yes, yeah, I don't want to tell too much anymore about my personal story. There was also defense. I prayed that the opponent won't be some radar remote sensing expert because this was my weakest field. But it was. From the Delft University, there was some top expert in the world came. And I was sitting, I don't even remember, I mixed everything in the defense. And 90 minutes of this discussion there. Just smiling there and trying to answer. Later on, I understand that I mixed the basic concepts there, but whatever, just do it. I mean, at that point, you have done so much work, just be there. The coming there is also already the victory, I mean. And yeah, to conclude, what are the takeaways of PhD studies? And I've never understood, sometimes while my friends have PhD studies, they say that it's a major ego boost to get the PhD. In my case, it's opposite, total opposite. I was so kind of humiliated, exhausted. I understood that how good actually these people are who are devoting themselves to their research. And so the humiliation was one lesson, and so I really kind of, if I had, as a young guy, had this kind of arrogant approach, I now deeply bow to all PhD students and PhDs. I'm the weakest one of these people, you know. Other lesson was that never give up and finish what you have started. If you have already started, I mean, just do it. Don't even think about is it motivating, or motivation is something unstable thing anyways. You need to have this routine, and you need to have a plan, good plan, and stick to the plan. Just do it, and don't think over that. Perfectionism is not good thing in this respect. You need to be good enough. Whatever. What do you mean? How many people are able to kind of do the Nobel Prize level research anyways? Think about it. Just do it. I mean, Mark Fišel is here, right? No? Yeah, Mark told me we have a joint project together. We were talking about PhD and my studies as well. And Mark said that I wasn't happy with my PhD, the level of or something. My PhD, I was not personally satisfied with it. But Mark has done all the excellent research later on. You need to move on. I'm not sure that I made a right point about you. And what else? I wanted to also touch this topic that you said in your slides, what PhD is all about. I'm an employer. I really see very big difference, the flexibility that PhD level people have, especially writing. You mean that you will go to some IT company and you just are coding and wrangling with data and etc. It's not true. Half of your work is actually writing proposals, or writing reports, and there are very significant difference and correlation when you have PhD or you're a PhD student. They write very well. They write the good text 3 times faster and 2 times better, basically. And they are very flexible, and they are independent thinker. I don't want to kind of say about myself I'm an independent thinker, but what I really see that PhDs, they really can get, you can give them the complex problem, and they are able to critically think about it, take it apart, and put it together in a way that it really adds value somehow. They are independent in that respect. Yeah, and I would like to end my story. I'm still in time. I had also, I think, the closing word would be like the shame fades, but the degree will remain forever. And I had also some other ideas that is there, and I think when I was writing my proposal, I was kind of thinking myself that young guys know this Sigma type of guy. Like you're a true Sigma, you're walking alone, like doing your stuff, and have this decisiveness and determination in your eyes. What else? And also I had the idea that maybe you should found something called anonymous PhD students kind of support group, like Anonymous Alcoholics Anonymous. Maybe exmatriculated PhD students anonymous thing. Maybe it is there. Maybe you know about it already. Maybe there are something like that. Maybe Sigma type of guys don't belong there. So thank you very much. Do you have any questions? I'm very happy. I belong now to 1% of adult population in Estonia having PhD degree. And I'm very happy. Humiliated, but happy.
So yeah, you can ask questions now, or also now it's time for coffee break, and then we can have more.
I just have
yes,
a
here.
quick question, sorry. As far as I know, PhD is also considered a full-time work, but we are also able to work in a company, yeah?
No.
That's why I was a bad example. Actually, when I was working, you need to ask from your people, but I think the system is changed, so I'm not the right person to answer this. If I had this chance to get good scholarship, I would recommend to devote fully to your studies, actually. And my example is a bad example. Remember, it's the hardest way to do this. And half of the PhD students never defend, right? Half, something like that.
The statistic is exactly, but certainly we prefer full-time because that's the best way to do it and the most effective. You have to share your attention between a demanding company and the demanding PhD studies. Typically that is not easy to lead to success. It's better like first to do one thing and then the other if you wish, rather than both at the same time.
I really don't recommend it. It's living. It's like living at the edge. Like all your articles will be obsolete. The more time goes on, your research is obsolete. More, it's harder to defend every minute which goes on.
Plus the junior research fellow. Yeah.
But you did not say that. So now, doing a PhD equals to being a junior research fellow.
Yeah.
This is a full-time job with a salary, and Estonia has provided the average national salary, but our institute has been topping up. So now this year it's 2,300 salary for junior research fellow for this full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
There is opportunity to do it half load in 8 years. So that may be able to, that way you may be able to combine, for example. But it is a full-time job indeed, and you get salary paid now. It was quite different 5 years ago, and previously the scholarships, etc. But that's a full-time job.
Okay.
That's an important point now. With the junior research fellow contract, as Jack said, the idea is that you have 4 nominal times. You can divide it maybe in 8 years, half load. But we really prefer 4 years, fully dedication with the salary, full time.
Yeah, ideally one can detect early on that something is a bit slower, but then after 1 year you go to half load, then you have 1 + 6. years, right? But then the problem is, of course, the negotiating how the salary would be, etc. Because you also cut the salary half.
Yeah. Understand. Thank you.
More questions for the speaker, or if not, we can also discuss during the coffee break, which is more intimate and perhaps more nice to discuss.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So yeah, with this we can start the second part of the information session, in which I believe perhaps is the part that you can relate the most, because you will hear the experiences from supervisors, and later on from PhD students at different years of their degree. And yeah, here we have three supervisors in our institute, Professor Hedi Peterson, Professor Fišel, and Associate Professor Fredrik Milani. And the idea is that they will share with you aspects of the PhD student life from their supervisor point of view, or maybe from when they did their own PhD. So you can start in any order and just share the experience. And please interrupt them at any time you have questions also, okay? Because again, this is for you.
Yes, please ask questions. I think we will be very happy to answer the questions rather than have a monologue or a dialogue. So I'm Hedi. I did my PhD at the University of Tartu, but not at this institute, although I work here. But Jakula was my supervisor, who was at the Institute of Computer Science. And I think maybe the first point I would like to make for the PhD students is that if you don't know if you want to do a PhD, then you don't have to do it. If you want to do it, then definitely do it. And then, of course, there's this lots of gray area in between those points. And I think the time that you have now, the best is if you are late, the bachelor students, early master students, is to go and do research and think about, is it something for you? Try to find the people that you like, try to find the topic that you like, because I think the most important part of doing a PhD is to do it with the people that you click with. But yeah, Mark.
I thought we were going to talk 10 minutes. That's
Yeah, all the pressure. Then again, I mean, Hedi is putting us ahead of schedule. Let me fix that. No, I agree with Hedi. First of all, I'll try to talk shortly. It's hard, but I'll try. But we will be happy to answer questions if there are any. I'm Mark. I'm the professor of natural language processing. I did my PhD here at the Institute of Computer Science, and I did my postdoc for 4 years at the University of Zurich in Switzerland. I want to make 2 points about the PhD studies. The first one is that it's first and foremost a job. Secondly, that it's so much more than a job. So, about the first point, if you're coming directly from the master studies, or obviously after having done the master studies, then you cannot think that it's a snooze button on my alarm clock of life and I'll just continue my studies. You're signing a contract where you're supposed to work for 40 hours a week if it's a full load, and you're working. You're expected to contribute to the work both individually as well as to the team, and it's a certain degree of responsibility. As any other work or job, of course, you will be learning in the process and becoming better and failing and picking yourselves up again and so on and so on. But you will be part of a team. Your supervisor or supervisors will have a project or projects where they got money for doing something, and you will be contributing to that something by a certain deadline. So you cannot think that, I can just do it next year because currently I'm interested in something else. There's a certain degree of flexibility, but you're supposed to contribute to your team's work, even if that team is you and the supervisor, and it's a job. It's not studies, it's work. So the same goes for the point about can you work in parallel. I admire Kalev for bringing himself as a sacrifice on this altar and saying that he did it, but it's a very bad way of doing it. So think of it as working 150% or 200% at 2 different jobs. Of course, you can do it, except there are easier ways of committing suicide. You can, but you really shouldn't. So it's a full-time involvement here and it's not impossible to do something in parallel, but this is highly discouraged. So doing things here, working here, is a full-time employment and full-time job, just like any other job. There are good points for that being a job, because it's not just you being a student and then later, you get hired into a company and you start getting experience. You're already getting experience of this is the first place, or maybe not the first place where you're working. So this is a place to get experience of working for somebody, contributing to a team, failing, picking yourselves up again, and so on. So it's not just a bad thing, don't get scared, it's a good thing also. Why am I saying that it's so much more than a job? I think joining the PhD program is one of the easiest ways of doing something that matters. If that's something that drives you, that turns you on, then this is a very easy way to do it. You can go to a company which does something research-oriented or research similar to research, be in an R&D position or something, but there I think raising to that level on the the corporate ladder is much harder than joining a PhD program. Of course, high risks, high returns, so that means you will fail many times, and that's fine. After the PhD, we keep on failing many times, and that's also fine, that's part of the process. But you get to do absolutely mind-blowingly amazing stuff. So without any false or right modesty, I mean, my team has failed many times, including because of my contributions, but also we have done amazing stuff like the best model for the most highest quality of translation for a machine translation model for Estonian. The best sounding, so neurotelge. It's not the best currently, but I mean it's a continuing race. Neurokõne, the best or near best sounding model for synthesizing Estonian. We have developed the first models for correcting Estonian grammar. We are developing the first generator of Estonian sign language. And this is all done by the whole big team, but which very strongly consists of PhD and other students. So joining the PhD program is also a chance to change science, to contribute something, maybe to something even practical. It doesn't have to be science. So even though it's a job and you should take it seriously as any other job, but it can be so much more than just a job, and you can basically change the world.
I would like to add to Mark's comment about our monologue about the job, that it's the best job in a way, because it's typically maybe your last chance to fail and not really worry about that. It's the supervisor's job to worry, but it's the PhD students really can go and try all kind of ideas, all kind of methods, fail and learn, and this is something that in a way is part of the process. So this is something I think is the most valuable thing for the PhD students, because the further away you get from the PhD, like us as professors, we try to fail as little as possible, but we try to allow our students to fail as much as they need to grow. So I would like to add that.
I thought PhD was fun.
Kalev said that there's no drinking involved. I mean, it was supposed to be inspirational.
I'm not sure you were inspirational.
I'm the bad cop.
So let me give another perspective. I think that in a PhD, and Kalev touched upon this, I think it's a very developmental. You learn a lot, and not so much about the specific topic you become a specialist in. I don't even remember what my PhD was about. But I do definitely see, because I also am in industry, I definitely see that those who have a PhD have the confidence to take any complex matter, know exactly how to break it down, know exactly how to approach each part and solve the problem. This is something that Kalev said, and it's true. That capacity, that skill, I think PhD is the best way to get that. In PhD, you get the time to learn that skill. In industry, you're more under time pressure to deliver, so it's not really the same learning process. That's one aspect. The other aspect is that in a PhD, you develop your resilience. Everybody who has done a PhD or who is doing a PhD, you all are familiar with reviewer number 2. And that really that really hits you in the face when you get a review, which is anonymous, so it's like internet trolling, but then they are harsh against you and they couldn't care less who you are. But then to learn that ignore how it is said and focus on what is said and to improve your work, that's really fulfilling in the end. Then there are other aspects that I think might be equally fun. You get to travel. And if you're lucky, you get to travel to nice places to hang out at the conference. I'll be honest, I don't submit papers to places like Gdansk and so on anymore. I go with Sevilla and places like that. And then you suddenly get into contact with the worldwide PhD student network. There's nothing I've seen so connecting people from complete different backgrounds as who's your supervisor? What's your supervisor like? And then they share stories. And then there isn't even a web page, PhD comics, that you only understand as a PhD student. And as soon as I graduated from PhD, I didn't understand any of the jokes anymore.
I still do.
Oh, you do? No, I don't recognize anything anymore. I don't understand it anymore. So there are these aspects of the PhD journey that I think is fun, fulfilling. And my previous PhD students, I still hear them they have friends in Canada, they have friends in here and there that are still in touch with. So that is another unique thing with PhD.
And sometimes you get to travel so much that you don't want to travel afterwards. And it might be hard to believe, but it's true.
True story. I can also imagine that you're a bit daunted about, wow, I have to write the paper and so on. Well, truth be told, at least in my group, the first year you can't write for your life. I mean, what you produce is horrible. And we end up writing it for you. Second year, you write half of it. But by the third year, you're writing it and we're just verifying that it's okay. And that writing part that Raul said, you know, it is really valuable to be able to express your thoughts into a way that some random person at another place reads and understands. That skill is also incredibly valuable.
And I would like to add that during a PhD, like you will get a topic that you apply to. Ideally, maybe you have put that topic together with your to be the supervisor. But the thing is that you're not doing it alone, and you're not doing it also alone with your supervisor. But in most of the cases, you will be part of a team, and this is, I think, the most rewarding thing to have kind of fellow thinkers who have different backgrounds, who have different ideas, to whom to walk that path. And as kind of you said that you will find friends from all this traveling and networking, but I think the best friends will be your fellow PhD students, because you will have all these sad and happy days, and these will unite you for years to come as well. So this is something that, don't worry, you will not be alone.
You both actually remind me. So you start with the topic that you and your supervisor meticulously picked, and then by the time you submit your third paper, you might want to actually decide on the actual topic that your PhD will be about. Simply because the nominal time that takes you to get to the PhD is 4 years. So remember yourselves, doesn't matter how old you are currently, 4 years ago, and what had happened in these 4 years. So it's a very long time. So in this time, life can happen, most likely will happen. So you get pregnant or get somebody pregnant, you get married or you get depressed or you get something. I mean, it's really, really, really hard to prognose with certainty 4 years ahead. So you should really be ready for not knowing what will happen, and that's fine.
And that's, I think, part of the academic life in a way, because we might have plans, but we go towards our goals, but there might be new cool ideas, new cool methods popping up either in your head or in your colleague's head, and then you just follow the path. It's a process rather than kind of getting to the end. I think finishing a PhD is just like a one day that will be special, and then you just keep walking.
Now is our last chance to answer any questions before the actual PhD students come and start answering. I don't know, ask us about AI or something.
I can kick off, take the road. Please briefly say what was your justification for entering the PhD studies? How long did it take? What was the most challenging? And yeah, let's start with that.
Nobody remembers what was the. It felt logical. It took me 2 years less than my supervisor. and what was the last question?
What was the most challenging for you?
That there were so many interesting questions out there, and you just have to pick some to answer.
I had no idea what I was signing up for. I had completely wrong motivation, so I didn't even imagine what this is about. I don't know, blame myself. I finished in almost 5 years. It was challenging to write the thing, but the biggest challenge was, Kalev just quoted me, so thank you, Kalev, that I spent about 1.5 years on something that one of my supervisors called the equation of the world. So I tried to make it genius, and it wasn't really succeeding, and I was really stuck on trying to make it genius. And then one of the supervisors said, like, it doesn't have to be genius. Better done than perfect. Just do it. If you want to do something genius, then defend your PhD and go on into postdoc and so on and do your genius there. Like, the PhD is, it's just something. Just do it. So currently I'm stuck with a mediocre PhD thesis, which thankfully nobody reads anyway. The topic for which is completely outdated because it was defended in 2011, and that's on statistical methods in AI. And I mean, they're still relevant in the niche area, but currently it's completely already replaced several times with other methods, and that doesn't matter. I mean, I have this checkbox in the CV that I have a PhD, and that opens some doors for me. The challenging thing was, switching from, getting stuck on the genius and actually turning towards getting it done.
For me, it was different. I moved to Estonia because my wife got pregnant. There's nothing to do here in Tartu. What could I do? I just walked into the university and then started a PhD. Took me exactly 4 years. I started 1st of September. I think I defended 30th of August, 4 years later. And the most challenging part is this, I think, I don't know what to call it, imposter syndrome and so on. Several times during my PhD, I was like, what the hell am I doing? What the hell is this? Who cares? So just, overcoming those 2 or 3 times during the process, that was maybe. Maybe it was more. I have suppressed data. I don't know.
I think that was a nice point. After you defend, you don't get rid of the imposter syndrome. I mean, you keep carrying it with you, and that's fine.
But you get used to it.
You get used to it, yeah.
Does everybody understand the imposter syndrome? Raise hands who understands.
Everybody understands.
Jaak, do you understand?
Absolutely.
Raise hands if you
I'm so ashamed of my lengthy PhD. I'm the slowest.
No, Kalev beat you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, we still have 5 minutes or less till the students talk. So, any questions? From curiosity?
Like, for example, if you have done a PhD in certain area or certain research questions, would it be wise after your PhD to switch to another area or another field of research? Or like, would you be wasting all the efforts that you had poured into the 4 years of research prior?
I think you haven't wasted your time in PhD, even if you switch, because you will take over all the skills that Raul showed you on the slides, but also all your experience in that field. And I think there is so much cool things happening on the borderlines of different subjects. So whatever you did will be an asset. So it's totally fine to switch.
Even if you go all depth in, you'll still get broader experience in the area. If you're interested in something else and have experience to show for it, then it's completely fine in your postdoc or getting hired afterwards to switch to something else. And plus, yeah, I agree with both Hedi and Fredrik that besides the area of expertise that you are broadly and deeply going into, besides that, you get the skill of splitting a task into smaller tasks and thinking structurally, selling your ideas to others, not as a multi-level marketing, but like convincing others in your ideas or explaining your ideas to others. So that's valuable anyway.
I think also, if we look at the trends, it's becoming interdisciplinary. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have somebody in PhD in information systems ending up at a psychology department and doing a lot of work there, or somebody in neurology or brain research ending up at the computer science. I think we have that even, don't we? Yeah.
More questions?
I have one question. Like whenever I think of PhD, so like one of the restraint of doing PhD is like I will be stuck up in the academic life for my life. So is it also true like after the PhD can you go to the industry and contribute there as well, or you're just stuck with the academic way of life?
No.
You can absolutely do anything you want after it. I think our university's guideline expects like 1/3 of the PhD themselves, the works, to be more industrially oriented, not necessarily academically. And no doors are shut afterwards.
So it's not that it closes your door.
Well, I think even most PhD students end up going to industry, right?
Yes.
None of my stayed. I don't know, maybe it's because none of my stayed.
For me, 1 out of 5. Mark?
Out of my 3 defended students, 2 stayed in academia, 1 went to industry. But then again, among others, at least 2 didn't come directly from masters, but came from industry or previous experience. So there isn't just one way to do it, and all the opportunities are open. Right.
Some more questions?
And you can do PhD together with industry as well. That's important. You don't have to do it academically only. So it can be that it's done together with industry, working at research questions at the industry. So it's not like silos, but it's really like a world.
But not by working 2 jobs at a time.
No, that you can't suggest.
Yeah, some more questions? Well, if not, there is one that I would like to ask you as supervisors. What are the attitudes or the qualities that you value the most in a starting PhD student?
Obedience, no. I think this mindset that curiosity, that, okay, let's figure out how we solve it. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, let's figure out how we do it. This kind of forward-thinking mindset.
I think curiosity and being a nice person.
Hard to pick one, but a balance between being, a team player, nice person, and so on, and disobedience and curiosity. Like you have to be stubborn and sometimes prove yourselves and say no, but I think like that. As a supervisor, we can say you can think whatever you want and test it on your own time, but for this project and this teamwork, we need these results. But you're welcome to explore yours as well on your own time. And if it's convincing, then we'll switch to that later.
Yes. Okay, there are no further questions, then I think very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have heard the supervisor's point of view, what they value, how was their experience, and what they think the PhD is from their perspective. But now it's time we switch gears and we actually invite here current PhD students in our institute. Because they can better than anyone give you how is this PhD student life. All 3 they had PhD students life, but that was some years ago. But now we would like to invite to the stage the people who are actually living it at the moment, and some of them were sitting where you are sitting just 1 or 2 years ago. So I would like to invite Ijeoma Faustina Ekeh, is second-year PhD student supervised by Raimundas, Vjatšeslav Antipenko, your third-year student, PhD, also by Raimundas, and Maarja.
Yes.
Yeah, hello. Maarja Pajusalu, who is the fourth-year student. So we have second, third, and fourth year actually. So maybe we can start by sharing your experience. What is to be a PhD student? Or you getting here? And also we can have some questions. You can start in any order you wish.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ijeoma Faustina Ekeh, second year PhD student. And just like you, 2 years ago I was also seated here out of curiosity to understand how PhD works. I remember my current supervisor inviting me, come and listen and see if you would like to do PhD. And I think when I attended this event, it actually opened up my interest more on why I should do PhD. So for me, the first question I asked myself was, why PhD? Why do I want to do it? Is it because everyone is doing PhD? Or am I curious to actually understand or solve a problem? And it took me some time to get this answer, but I was also very motivated for the PhD. So I think motivation was one thing for me while I was joining the PhD. But now that I'm in my second year, I could tell you that there are some points in life that you get very demotivated. And I was at that point for some time because just like Mark introduced that you had this second reviewer who would give you some comments, and I received a rejection for my first paper. And that actually made me cry. I was wondering, is PhD really for me? But again, it's fine. The comments are for you to improve your research. And I think looking back at the first paper and what I have now, you could see like a difference. So PhD has improved not just my curiosity, but how to do the research the right way. So for me, I think it's a very positive experience. Generally, you have to have very good support system because, again, PhD is not like this linear journey. It comes with a lot of ups and downs, but you have to define how your PhD should look like. You should have this time management, apart from like you have a lot of traveling because you have a lot of teaching or assistance to do within a project. You just have to give yourself some time, think about it, how to plan your PhD, how do I make it go smoothly for me, right? So those are the things I actually started learning in the process up to the second year. And yes, again, your supervisor's relationship is really important. I have a very good supervisor who supports my research, and if I have questions, he's ever ready and keen to listen to me. And I think that's very important. As you want to do your PhD, you should already start developing a very good relationship with your 2B supervisor, speak with them, understand what their expectations are for you. And yeah, I think also with some events that we do, I try to attend and organize as well. It gives you some free time to, pour out this whole pressure of PhD. And I think that's like generally my experience. How about you, Slav?
Thanks, Faustina. We share the same supervisor. Yeah. Okay, so I'm Vjatšeslav Antipenko, but everybody can call me Slava. I'm a third year PhD student. My background is a little bit different, so I was working in the industry for about 9 years before I pivoted to academia. And when Kalev, who has apparently already left, talked about his journey, it highly resonated within me. He was 32, I was 33. I was burned out, he was burned out. He was middle management, I was middle management. But he said he didn't contemplate PhD, but I was curious towards PhD. And when the decision was made to quit the corporate job, somehow the stars aligned. I found the position, I found the supervisor, I had a brief talk. He said, "Why haven't you applied?" So I applied, passed there was a process, and eventually I am here. Now, I think that my biggest motivation to pursue a PhD is basically curiosity. I have a few friends besides, you know, the University of Tartu who are also pursuing PhD, and basically, once you start pursuing this, you contemplate, who the fuck cares? Why aren't I doing this, and etc. But this is kind of the process of you developing yourself. So you need to find internally the motivation, the justification. Why do you do this? And eventually you can mold yourself and build yourself whoever you want to be. Yes, there are basically some constraints in terms of process, in terms of time commitment, and you know the team that you're part of. But in general, I believe, yes, besides curiosity, it's a very big platform for you and me to develop as a person. And basically, it's an adventure. So it was like, why the fuck not? Thank you.
Okay, I could also say that I was sitting here in the same event, but as it was 6 years ago, I was not here. The building was not here. It was in the Levy Street in the old building of computer science. So true that I'm 4th year student, but if looking into the calendar, it's my 6th year. I have used some different excuses for academic leaves, which were mentioned here before. So I started out really enthusiastic into 2020. I was expecting for my answer if I can get the position here. During the first and darkest lockdown of COVID, I was on the swing in the garden in my house, and I was just receiving the letter, yes, I get the position. Why did I want to come here? I was bored and burned out in the industry. I was, my first education was from Tallinn University of Technology in Business Information Technology. Then I skipped a few years doing work in industry as an analyst. I was very intrigued about a master's program in Tallinn University in IT. So I had master's in user experience design because it was so great curriculum for me at that time. Then I spent more 8 years in industry and working as a lecturer, as an IT team lead. And then I decided I need something more interesting. And I had researched the needs, training needs for entrepreneurs. And it was very clear that data analytics is something that our industry is missing out. They have lots of data from the digitalized processes, but they cannot do it, or they don't do anything with the data. So I found the curriculum here, data science masters. But then I understood I can come to PhD instead, and that's much more enjoyable than full-time masters. So I started my PhD in health informatics. So I just came because of data science, and then I came to this event. I made myself seen, asking lots of questions, so that Kaura Laso would come to me and ask, what are your interests actually? What are you searching for here? Because I live in Pärnu, and I decided I will come for this evening to Tartu to go to the event. Never been to University of Tartu before, and it was a nice evening. And I explained Kaur what my interests are, what my background is, and he pointed out some interesting people in the room, which one of them was my now supervisor, Raivo, who had just returned from his postdoc from Harvard and started this research group also as one of the lead investigators in health data analytics. So I'm here for the 6th year. And just when the 2nd year was like hard, going almost to the right direction towards my first article, then I went to see my supervisor, who was just indicating that the 3rd year is going to be the year, and I thought that I'm going to get my 3rd child. And then I was skipping a little bit for the academic leave, and now I'm back here. And I must say that when your 3rd child is 3 years old and goes to kindergarten, I feel fit to do all the work. And I'm very tired of it. I'm like looking, I think like I'm almost crying because the eyes are tired, because I worked 8 hours to do the 2nd article, because if, and then, but I'm also completed almost my third contributions, or I have many. I didn't think about it before, but actually this teamwork or the articles where I'm not the first author, but I do have these contributions, so that is something I have been happy to do. It's the teamwork. That's really nice. That's what I enjoy here the most.
So the light at the end of the tunnel is visible?
Yes, actually, you know, as I work as a lecturer, there is a light at the end of the tunnel twice a year. Christmas lights and midsummer. Yeah. That's the journey.
But we would like to have your questions, your bright, fresh minds.
How much AI you are using?
The what?
How much AI are you guys using?
How much AI are we using?
Okay.
It's recorded.
Yeah, I know. We use enough of AI. It's like, how often do you use a calculator to calculate?
But you have the paid subscription now, right?
Yes.
The university.
The university provides a paid subscription, of course.
Yes, but for me, actually, I use very minimal AI in my research, and I think I just use it to expand my, like, if I have an idea, it's good to help use it to expand your idea, but for writing, I'm very skeptical with the use of AI, but yeah, I mean, the university also gives us the opportunity to do it.
For working on the code that I have already created, and then to give instructions what I need to change, I use daily.
Yeah, it depends.
Like
It depends what you do. I mean, but each in university, they like the possibilities are there for the students to use. It's okay. Everybody adapts. The lecturers as well.
I can add to that, both me and my team constantly and very often use generative AI for code and for text, and that's a perfect way to get easily and cheaply from 0 to 80 on a scale of 100. And your PhD is not going to be about staying at the level of 80. So you'll have to go higher than that, and no matter how many times we try to generate something ready, you see that without your involvement, like, it's not going to generate code. So you're still needed to make it into gold.
So just out of curiosity, what are your research topics?
Very good question.
Thank you, very good question.
I was thinking about it, like, could I read it out from my head?
You mean the topic of what it's generally about?
Like, maybe generally,
Okay.
if it's easier.
Elevator pitch.
Okay, so for me, I research on the security of artificial intelligence and also how we can use artificial intelligence to secure AI systems or other information systems as well.
Yeah, we are both from information security research group, so everybody in our team deals with somehow is related to security, and I'm more focused or specialized in the industrial automation, in the 4.0 automated systems, etc. So how to make the system secure.
When I said that I was bored and I was searching for something new, data science was going deep into it new for me. But the field I found, health information analytics and health informatics, was something that's, I think, also very important in my PhDs, to make a really meaningful work and to have an impact for the society in Estonia and wider. We do international cooperation with different research groups all around the world. We have some main partners like in Netherlands, and we create methods and tools to analyze health data. For that, our team is bringing Estonian health data into the common data model so that we always know how to access it, and we can build tools so the different kind of studies are run really more easily and fast. And we can use the tools that the other teams all around the world have built as well, that are part of this cooperation network. And my part in it is building visualization tools and methods. So I'm thinking how to show different health data, answering the questions that we get from the medical doctors. Like, for example, looking back, how have been the Estonian patients being treated? Did the treatment guidelines were followed correctly? How can we reflect it back to the community of medical specialists, what they could learn from it and apply in the medical system that we all experience when needing help.
One more time for questions, so please go ahead.
Have you also suffered from procrastination sometimes, and can you bring an example?
Always. I mean, it's. I can't really give you an example, but I guess for me it's like if I don't have a hard deadline, then it's like I'm behind the PC. Okay, I'll open chess, play a chess game, then I'll switch back to writing. No, there's no motivation. I go play another chess game, and such. But if I have a hard deadline, and it's up front of me, right? Then it's like focus. But I guess it's very dependent on your own. How do you work? How do you motivate yourself? So not everybody is convenient with hard deadlines. So that's why some people might procrastinate a little bit more. But then again, there's I would say that academics or researchers are actually very very creative people, and for sometimes in order to get into the flow, it takes really time. So sometimes procrastination is fine.
Yeah, but don't procrastinate so long. Again, it depends on how you work. Sometimes you might have this feeling that, okay, let me leave this stuff later. I would, touch it. But it's also good for you to give yourself a time or a deadline, that you work with. Basically, if, for example, you have a paper deadline for next week, you have to give yourself an earlier deadline. With that, you are able to work better. You don't procrastinate, till the end. So I think that generally depends on how you want to apply your work style.
I feel definitely that working so good right before the deadline, right? But then you don't have the time to review, and then you want an extra time. And right as you said about having a deadline for yourself before, I heard even better suggestion to make an appointment with somebody else. Like this was from the business field. Somebody said, I have a consultant that I pay for to have a deadline with her or him before. So I still do it at the last night, but then it's 2 weeks ahead of my actual deadline. So I was like, I should apply that. It's I once asked from a student, but have you asked yourself, and now I'm thinking about myself, why do you procrastinate and what is missing? Like, why are you not feeling enthusiastic enough to do that work that you should be doing right now? But of course we have this moment, I like it sure, a lot. And trying to be, as Kalev said, organized, the routine. For me, routine works well. So if everything is running by the routine, I have my schedule fixed, and it's nice to find a calm feeling to work in big slots. I think also having slots that are saved from other topics. When before Raul and Kalev were speaking, I was making some notes that I wouldn't forget to say that what's excellent in PhD in our research group, we are organizing by our own team. We have the writing camps twice a year. Excellent, it's like a paradise. You can imagine going away from home for 3 days where you have food prepared for you, and you have a room where you can sleep, you have only quiet space around you, you can go out, walk. So just this continuous time. And I find eating and having the routine really important for me, but during the writing camp I have even been working so that I forgot to go to the dinner which was prepared for me. This was, my colleagues were asking like, yes, we went eating. I was like, eating? 2 hours ago. But this time there, it's something really precious. writing camp, going out of your regular setting and having like the regular troubles deleted for you and working. That's nice. And then there is another event organized together with University of Tartu and University of Life Sciences, where I have participated twice again. I think it was one night, 2 days. Camp, yeah, from morning and then next day afternoon we are leaving. It's giving a popular science talk, and Kalev Maltsev, a really renowned coach of talking, of public speaking and teaching, is training there. And I have been there twice to learn, present. It's a competition. First year I got the prize. I had no idea about the prizes. They gave you, as a present, a new laptop, business level. Really, that kind of event. Really nice event. And from the skills that you can obtain, speaking. I like speaking. I'm a lecturer, I'm speaking a lot. But just to train for some specific audience, specific message you have, the impact you want to make. For that I also attended the Science in 3 Minutes competition also in University of Tartu, and then over the Estonia it's by the Academy of Sciences, and it's both in Estonian and in English, and the English competition then gets you, I think the 3 winning competitors go to the international, it's the Coimbra something format that they then will attend internationally. So this kind of events that you can choose, which will be like focusing on some area that you want to develop for yourself. Definitely personal development, also networking with the people who are attending there. These kind of things are really, really, really nice addition to the work. As Mark said, it's a work, and then you can attend this kind of events as well.
Yeah, talking about networking as well, I think Raul mentioned that we also organize like events for PhD students where we like very informal. So I think those type of event has also helped me personally in interacting with my fellow PhD students, hear their experiences. And I think that that's one of the interesting things or events that we have here, that I see people, open up to tell you, okay, I think something is going wrong in my PhD, and then you see somebody who is like a bit experienced in maybe years tell you how to, really guide you through it. And also support system, when you're in the PhD, you also see your group members as your teammates. So if you have like issues, they are ready to like assist you and make sure that, you meet up with probably a deadline or whatever activities that you have, going on around you. So I think the PhD actually improved most of my skills, like looking back 2 years before I joined the PhD, and right now I could see a lot of growth. So it shows you that it's not just, you're coming to the PhD because of research. It's not just research. There are a lot of interpersonal skills that you embody while you're doing the PhD. So I thought it's important to also put it out.
And another thing, what was mentioned before, the public communication or public speaking, not only public speaking, but public relations. That from our side, from the health informatics and the results and impacts, it won't arrive where we want if we don't go out and present it to the stakeholders, like be it the ministry level, hospital level. We do that, and I think that's really the place where you feel the importance of the work, so you can understand where it can go from academy. I can be in the academy but feel really related to the be it the public or the industry. So it depends on the field. So I have found this. My life is interesting now.
Maybe some questions have. Oh, yeah, yes, please.
Do you?
What was the most unexpected thing or the most surprising thing for you?
Most unexpected thing. Does it want to start? No. Okay. Maybe it's not the positive thing, but it was still the somehow understanding when I wasn't in academia and when I was looking at it from the industry or from the outside side, I was thinking that the research is more related to the topic that you researched, you know, the specific niche, the specific domain or the problem that you're resolving. But when I stepped over the threshold and started submitting papers and started writing, I've understood that it's more about how you do the research. So basically everything that is aligned as I see it, everything helps you to become in how you do in a better way. So eventually it doesn't really matter what you research, but by the process, since the process is there, it kind of proves for others as well that what the PhD actually matters, and so the others also know that once you you graduate, that you've gone through a very harsh environment, let's say so, and you've been tested.
But it is a path developing yourself to become a researcher, but it's that's why it's the student status. And about the feedback, I have heard before from students worrying about how to manage feedback, that it's harsh. You have done so much work put into it, like you said, that your rejection, I also got my rejections, and it's, I think it should be taken with this curiosity also, like, oh, they told me in this way, okay, what can I do with this feedback? And never to take it like personally. Yeah, it's your personal work what you did and your time and the effort you put into it. But it's a nice way to think, first of all, how would I debate if I would like to say, but I'm right. But then, of course, in your articles, you will go on and try to politely solve the issues and answer the reviewers, which is the nice communication part. Also, how do you reply with your improvements? Yeah. And in my case, I got, I think, twice the rejection with comments, and then after my improvements, the editor immediately published. So it was like not going on the third round after, even though there were comments that could be improved. So it was my first experience like that, my article where I am the first.
I mean, just to add a little bit of what shocked me was that I already had this picture of how, for example, my first paper would look like. I already researched, and I think I had the picture. And when I got that first rejection, it was like a blow. I felt like, do I know what I'm doing at all at first? But what interests me was that when I tried to apply the comments from the reviewers to improve the paper, I saw a difference from the first paper that I have submitted to the second paper. So, so these comments, you don't take them to heart. It's just to make sure that, these papers are improving and you are putting the best product out to the industry or to the public. So I think that was my biggest.
Do you also feel like some imposter syndrome sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely, always. It never leaves me. you become friends with it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What have been your recent brightest milestones or moments, maybe within a month? I've been there.
Brightest moment. I guess no, I wouldn't say it's the brightest, but it's just one of the positive moments. Is that this week I finalized my next paper. I have 3 more weeks now. It's on the reviewer on the supervisor's desk who will provide me feedback, and we have some weeks left to improve it for the submission date. So that was kind of positive.
Yeah, for me also as well, I think my brightest is that I am able to submit this paper again to another conference, and hoping that it goes through, and fingers crossed.
I'm finalizing my second article, which was like almost there, and then I got the total update for the data that I am working on. So until now, we were working on 10% of Estonian population data, and just this week I got 30% of Estonian health data, which is something I have dived so deep into. I feel like I know everything I should see there, and then updating all my analysis with new data and seeing that it still looks the same. Like it's like the workflow is working and the data is just updated, but like looks like it's fine. So it's like seeing my own work in action, actually. Like I can imagine how it works with other data sets apart from Estonians. Any other questions?
I had a question like about before starting the PhD, should you consider or about the maturity of the research work or the field that you are committing your life into? Like, should it be mature enough that there are gaps that can be studied more?
I think the supervisors might elaborate a bit better on that question. So the maturity of the research field.
Wasn't there a quote by some physicist, I don't remember when it was, end of 19th century, that physics is solved, don't go into physics, there is nothing else to discover there, and afterward it's relativity theory, quantum theory comes and so on. It's hard to estimate that. Imagine joining AI in, I don't know, 2011 or 12 or 13 and suddenly neural networks come. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to a field being mature. There's others to draw experience from if it's a mature field, but there's a higher level of competition. Like AI currently is wild, because if you just think something and don't tell anybody, then tomorrow you will see the paper on arXiv by Google with that precise idea. Well, I mean, sometimes it feels like that, but it isn't really. And if instead you pick a less mature field where you're not competing with everybody, then I guess maybe it's harder to feel that it matters. So there are no easy roads. I think it's probably more important to choose a field that you feel passionate about, because that makes it easier to work in.
I think in our case it's more important that there is work to be done. There is so many things that we see that should be done. Maybe it's not like the Nobel Prize discoveries things, but it's something that hasn't been done. It's possible to do, and we need it. For us, it has been a big borderline, the ethics of health data and managing that. This is a big part of our workflow that has been working. Our research group today, I think, when I started, I was the first PhD student of my supervisor, and I think we were like maybe 10 to 15 people, and today I think we're 25, 30-ish. We are a big research group, I think. So it's something I was asking not about the field so much, but about the situation of projects and plans that the people already had who are working together. Like, where is the place where I can put my work in and also get their support? Like, where are they already experts and what they want to accomplish, where I can put my time into.
Since we are in this questions time, I think maybe we can also invite the supervisors chairs, so we can have some sort of fun. You please stay there also. So actually the final 20 minutes or so, we would like to use it also so that you can ask, I mean, you have already started asking questions, but maybe we can put them all here so you can address questions to anyone, the supervisors and the students. So please, I would like that you don't leave this room with some questions still in your mind that you haven't asked. So I'm sure there are more questions, so just don't be shy.
Better ask. No. Better ask. There are no stupid questions, there are only stupid answers.
For students, what's a regular work day look like?
Well, starting around 9-ish, ending depending on how motivated I am. But my personal, our research group sits slightly in different places, so I sit a little bit like in a different room. And usually, my work day is mostly solo behind the computer, unless we're doing some, collaborative stuff. And basically, I am pretty much in charge of my own, day and how I plan my, activities.
I'm mainly doing distance work, so I'm working from my home office in Pärnu, and then I connect here every Tuesday morning. We have meeting seminar here. Every Monday morning we have a research group weekly meeting. I'm then connecting by Zoom. And when I started, I had this question, is it possible, because I'm not going to move to Tartu, and I made this arrangement with my supervisor, telling that anytime I have to come, I can come, and then we can arrange. So I'm time scale quite the same, but just in another building.
For me, my typical work day is 9 to 5. Basically, the good thing about PhD is that you can plan your day. You know, nobody is regulating how you day. The most important thing is to submit the output that is expected of you, so you can actually be flexible. Discuss with your supervisor if you work from home. But for me, I usually work more here in the office, take coffee breaks, play games, read, and yeah, basically that's it.
I want to find out from both the PhD students and the supervisors, how did you make your first contact? Now I've been given all the slideshows that we should reach out by December 1st to supervisors. How did you guys make the first contact? Was it structured? Was there a research topic and all your interests? You just sent it to the supervisor, or it was just the idea you had and they had to respond, and maybe it now made your proposed PhD topic more interesting? How did you go about it?
Okay, I can start. For me, my entry into PhD was it's smooth because I worked with my supervisor for my master thesis. So I already had very good working relationship with him from the masters, and then he proposed that I would like you to do a PhD. And I was like, okay, PhD, what topic? And then he said, AI. And I was like, okay, I don't know AI. He said, I don't know AI too. Yes, but that makes it interesting because then you're curious to know what you're researching about, and we were able to discuss through it. And he made the call. We had competitions. I wrote my motivation later and had interviews, and yeah, that was it. So basically, mine came directly from the masters. I already had this talking relationship with him.
I had a bit differently. So since I was working at that time, I saw what's called a vacancy for or research for PhD students, and they had like a deadline. But since I wasn't sure, I just wrote to the supervisor and arranged a short call to understand whether I would even be a candidate in this scenario. Since for me the pilot, like the domain was relatively similar to what I was doing previously. The only thing was that I should pilot from district academia. I applied, passed the qualification, let's say so, and that was it.
So for me, I made contact at this kind of event and agreed that we have similar interests. Like my supervisor was also into visualization. He already had worked out the visualization package for the program we are now also working on. And I told him that I'm interested in being a candidate. And my project that we agreed on was rejected by institute. So we said, like, let's see next round. It was, I think, in February, the first round was rejected. And then I got the call that another project that was accepted by the institute had lost the candidate. So I applied for somebody else's organized project and got this.
Can I add? This is extremely important point actually. By the time that you see the announcement position on the web, there have been so many different stages before. By the time it has reached out, often the position is awarded to the supervisor with the idea of a person in mind. And by the time it reaches the public announcement, many of those have already somebody in mind. Yeah. Some don't. And then there are total open calls, and then life happens, somebody drops out, whatever. But the best time to approach supervisor is when you can together develop the research proposal. And that is there are multiple stages. Within the institute there is a certain number of positions. Then the faculty competition is, supervisor competes with that project. This year there will be extra competition that there are AI related topics that university gets extra positions, so there will be more opportunities for AI. But it always will be best time to approach supervisor while they are coming up with ideas, whether to apply for positions, whether I will find somebody, anybody. So the best time is now. Just knock on the door, drop them email. You want to talk to somebody, that's the best way.
And if you're not from here, then if you need to research after today's evening, I think the website of Institute has the research groups and the contacts there to find like what are the projects, any of the research. We have 8 or 9 research groups, no?
We have 6 chairs, we have some 40, 50 research groups.
Okay, 6 chairs. So there are many different projects and fields, so you can find also this more information from there.
Now I would like to add, or like, agree with Jaak. I think the best way is to go and go to the 3rd floor. There is this big screen with names, names and faces. Or go to the institute website, find the office number of the people, and just go and knock the door. If you can't find us in the first try a second time, and then write an email if you need to. But I think the best way is to just talk to us, and it's a dialogue. And it will be like a dialogue for years.
Nobody wants to take a very shy person. And they have to present at the end.
Asking a lot of questions and.
Yep.
Have you sometimes experienced during your doctorate studies the eureka moments?
Yes, and some of them were actually good. And most of them were later you find out that it wasn't that much of a eureka, but it's either a complete failure or it's a incremental improvement. So sure.
Yeah, you definitely do, and these are very sweet moments, and they might come in unexpected times, like shower, walking, running. Not typically in the office thinking very hard. Sometimes, but not always.
That's a perfect point to come back to somebody's question on procrastination. I mean, a lot of people have this attitude, although there are different types of people, but there is a very nice Coursera course called Learning How to Learn. And for me, that was really a groundbreaking moment in terms of looking at procrastination and understanding it. It should have been called not learning how to learn, but learning how to work, exist, learn, and function, and so on. It really explains you like what's happening and why this is happening and how to handle it and how to make yourself work and not really hate it. And one of the things they were explaining is exactly what Hedi now mentioned, that your brain can work in a focused mode, like you're sitting and trying to work, and also in a diffuse mode, like you're walking, you're taking a shower, and so on. And it's important to do both. Sometimes you focus, and you reach some plateau, and then you go for a walk, and your brain is actually on the background still working on it, and that's where you're just as likely, or even maybe more likely, to hit a eureka.
Sometimes it happens. A student has a moment where they come up with something. I think we had one student, and me and my co-supervisor, we were sitting there and didn't know which direction to take this. So we asked the student, present what your thoughts are. And the student said something without understanding what they had said. And then me and the other guy would just go, oh shit, that's it. So it happens from students as well.
And then you get your last spark out of your coat.
Yeah.
A lot of research is simply incremental. You see some existing amount of work and you add something to it. And then some more work is really more like spurious or hardly predictable. And you can just get ideas and something can jump. So the second one is harder to plan or forecast. But I guess that's where the eurekas come. And then again, even if you do something incremental, so just a tiny addition to something, I mean, to anybody else looking at the whole field, it will be like a whole field, and here's your contribution. To you, it will be, your whole world, and there you will still feel your gotcha on it.
Doesn't have to be on the core things either. It could be also on a paper. For example, you have this thing you need to explain. You don't know how to explain it. You write it the first draft, doesn't make sense. And then suddenly, that's how I should present it. Could be that as well. But it's a sweet moment. You have a smile on your face for 2 days.
came from the industry, I think that's two of you, and you said you were bored and burnt out, but how do you feel about it now? Like, do you miss it sometimes, or?
Yes, definitely yes. But I mean, from the moment, basically, okay, somebody plans it already now, maybe you're doing your PhD, as previously others also said, even after graduation, the industry is not closed. So it's more like you have now more open doors to choose from and new career paths that you haven't even previously maybe imagined. So, but definitely the vibe is different. But this is again part of the process. So.
No. Not yet. Too much has been happening. But I say that I feel here that I'm connected to industry very well. I mean, even if it's a hospital, it's like the setting where the things are happening. People are doing their everyday work, and we are trying to improve something in there. So it's a totally different kind of feeling, but I think it's comparable with the idea that I'm working in the industry. And the beautiful saying, akadeemiline vabadus, academic freedom, the idea that actually you are working on something that you're really interested in, and you don't have this like every weekday, I don't know, daily scrum meeting to report to somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something else you would like to ask to our panelists? I have one question about the future to the students. What would you like to do after the PhD? Where would you like to go?
Maybe you can start. You're the closest.
Yes, I'm thinking about it. But currently, actually, I'm really into the work I could do in this research group in the same academic field, contributing to the personal medicine in Estonia. So I think it would be a really good background for me to complete my PhD, but I'm already involved in different kind of studies, be it the network studies on local Estonian health question. I hope I will be valuable there.
For me, I think it's a little bit too early-ish, though. I mean, I can flirt with the idea, but I think that within a year I will know better, because with each year there kind of, you know, your network grows, the visibility of open doors grows, etc. But I think that I would like to be involved in both worlds. So by transitioning to the academia, I kind of got the flavor, and now I want to continue it. But I'm not sure yet whether 100% is the correct one. So I would like to have all options available.
I think I'm the farthest from the future, but yeah. Right now, I enjoy my research, so I'm looking forward to either continue in the academia, but never say never. We don't know, but yes, I love the academic world, and I think it would be a nice path for me.
Fredrik, your wife did not allow for a postdoc?
I didn't want to leave.
Look at Hedi and Mark, they did postdocs.
Yeah. But I did pre-doc. I came from industry, so I had the industry experience as a...
I can answer the same question retroactively. When I was in the PhD studies, I had absolutely zero idea of what I'm going to do next. What I was going to do next. I had a vague idea that it would be nice to do some postdoc, but I had almost no idea of how to do it, and I just got lucky that I ran into a professor I knew. So it was through knowing somebody, and just he offered, and at the last moment I thought, why not?
Yeah, I think you don't have to worry too much, because every year, as Slava said, like your network grows, the opportunities come. So it's like, I think it's when you start, you shouldn't worry about what will be there afterwards. Just enjoy the process and do the best you can do during the studies.
Very stupid question, like, is 2300 the maximum we can get during the PhD, or it depends on the project or the grant?
And the inflation and time.
Yeah.
Projects that supervisor may have, yes, but there also has to be a little bit of fairness between the different PhD students. Otherwise, they will be very skewed. But the truth is that also supervisors want to bring in more funding, and sometimes some roles are more important than others in helping to support that. So some research groups have to operate a little bit like small businesses as well, for good or bad. But this is how it a little bit works.
Yeah, but don't do the PhD just for the money.
Yeah.
It's nice, but there are better options.
Yeah, I think if you just care about the money, just go straight to the industry. But there's so many other valuable things in the academia, and if you stay in academia, the money might follow.
Many people see also PhD as a springboard for later on landing on jobs that are much higher than if you wouldn't have done it. So you can see it also as an investment, also for your own income later on. But yeah, but during that time, only for the money, it's not.
Do we have wealthy alumni? Yes, we do.
People got to fund startups right after PhD, and now they are very, very well. They're doing very well.
President of Bolt is also our alumnus with a PhD. Pacton founder is our alumnus with a PhD from our school. Scientific masters with Christo Gardner from our group. So.
And a lot of failed people as well.
No? No? What do you mean by
what? You know, graduating from here with a PhD doesn't guarantee that you become a millionaire, right?
People who live so old as we are not failed. Right?
So if there is no other option, you can stay in academia.
No, actually, I'm coming from industry towards academia, so that's why I was just asking.
Oh, you are well funded, though.
Yeah.
Some more questions or curiosities you have for any of our panelists? Then I would like to ask one that maybe relates to you also, which is perhaps to the students. What was the thing that scared you the most before deciding to go for PhD that now you think back and you think, okay, maybe that was a stupid thought that I was scared about this?
I wasn't scared.
Okay, coming from where I come from, PhD is seen as something that is very difficult. So I was really scared to, if I would finish this PhD. I think that fear was there from the start, but right now that I'm in it, I am enjoying the process, and I think it's not as hard as it was, termed. So yeah.
Actually, I have to correct my answer. I was worried because, as my supervisor still says, that I came from a different background. I was in master's in IT. I came here, and I strongly felt that I came from different background. When I was thinking about PhD, I first went to University of Tallinn to speak with the people where I came from the masters. Then I was going to Estonian Business School, just jumping into some lectures to observe the potential supervisors, discussed with them some things and thought that I will come here. And this event for me was the event where I decided that it's going to be University of Tartu if I apply. And when I started, I was immediately buying the license for data camp to run all the courses I could do at the time when I was here in Tartu. I came here for 2 days to attend some courses because in my curriculum I had 60 credit points of courses. This is the old version. And during all this time I stayed in Tartu alone. I was doing the courses on data camp, which I like really much, which I think is a really nice example of educational platform. And that was my worry, like managing the programming that I didn't like at all, and I was sure I'm going to do everything in Python, and I haven't done anything in Python, but the courses I'm doing it in R, and I didn't know anything basically about R before coming here. So the technicalities, like the technical skills was my thing too, but that was why I came also. I wanted to deep dive into it.
I think my PhD students, so one thing a lot of people are afraid of, but I think they're just overthinking it, is at the end just sitting and writing a very, very big and scary PhD thesis. And it sounds like not just writing a long text, but writing a thesis. The thesis, the dissertation. Well, it's just a text about what you've done in the last 4 years. And that's challenging, but you shouldn't overthink it, and then it's just a text to write. And then to improve, and then just to defend. Another thing I think that could be an issue that many people should be concerned with, but also there's a way around it, is a lot of people talk about the feeling of isolation, like you're in your silo working on your topic and you're not collaborating with anybody, and I don't know, maybe you don't have enough connection or communication with the supervisor. That happens. In our academic system, the supervisors have to teach and supervise and do the outreach and apply for grants and so on, and the PhD students are also busy, but there I think it's extremely important to keep up the communication with the supervisor. So if you're missing something, then just go talk to the supervisor. Say, I really feel like I'm missing this thing. And be insistent and so on. I mean, the supervisor will hear you out eventually, and maybe it takes more than one time, but it's really important to be talking. Like, within these 4 years, there's usually enough flexibility to maybe adapt your topic a little bit so that it becomes more practical or more theoretical or more connected with somebody else so that you work together, or getting some more feedback from the supervisor, as long as you maintain the communication and express your needs.
Yeah, and I think it's important, if you can, to go and talk to several people, because some people might kind of have a better click with you than the others. And I think it's very valuable to go and talk to them about, so what do you expect from me as a PhD student, and what will you offer as a working style, with opportunities, your way of working, and then see kind of where to click, because it is a long collaboration.
One thing Mark just reminded me, what helped me contextualize writing, it was kind of an example that my master's supervisor gave me when we had a discussion around PhD and writing. So basically he explained that I at the time was writing a master's thesis, and he said, well, imagine that each article or paper that you're writing is pretty much a master's thesis. So the more you do those, the better you are, the faster you do. And right now, retrospectively, I could say that it's somewhat. So if you're right now kind of trying to imagine what this is writing about, then I would say that helped me. Maybe it will help you as well to contextualize what's paper writing.
The paper is smaller than the thesis.
Yeah, it's a condensed version, of course.
15 pages.
So I think one lesson to start from here is also that you can see the PhD is also an adaptive system. It can change, it can be flexible, also as Mark said. So that's also important. Not everything has to be set from the beginning. The exact topic, which papers you will write. Of course, you need to have some notions on plan, but things change, things adapt, especially if you communicate with the supervisor in a two-way manner. That's also very important skill to have during the PhD.
By the way, paper can also be a patent application.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened really in my memory. It could.
Yeah. So it's 6:30 exactly. That was the time that we planned, but still there are some more questions. We can address them. If not, I think we have quite a lot. So yeah, I would like to thank all the panelists, the students and the supervisors for being here and sharing their experience with us. And again, I think the spirit of today's message has been fulfilled in the sense that we have provided you with experience from both sides of the PhD studies, supervisor and students. Hope you will have the elements now to take an informed decision. Some of you maybe see you here next year. Maybe you will start a PhD somewhere else. But anyway, I think we have told you as it is, with the good parts, the bad parts. So again, I think you have more elements now to take the decision, and that was all this event about today. So thank you all for coming. I thank you, Janica, and everybody, to organize this event for you. Thank you.